Boruto Chapter 79 is here, and it is not only the greatest chapter in the series, but quite possibly the greatest manga chapter so far this year. We waste no time and pick up where we left off. Boruto, overwhelmed and thrown off from the previous events and words of Momoshiki, quickly gets to asking for answers. Barking out, "What the hell is gonna happen?" Coldly, Momoshiki would reply, "I told you, it's already started." He'd warn Boruto to brace himself and vanish while laughing with sick pleasure. Sasuke, nearby Boruto, could only look on with concern for his student. Konoha was in a panic and rushed to find Kawaki, the man who in their eyes betrayed the village and fled the scene after causing chaos. Unfortunately for them though, he was hiding well by extinguishing his chakra. Shikamaru, leading the charge, would urge his team on, insisting they not let up and wait for the moment Kawaki becomes tired and gives up. They had to find him, not only to prevent future damages, but Kawaki is the key to recovering the Hokage, Naruto. Witnessing the dire situation from the sidelines, Shikadai and his squad were, as you'd imagine, in disbelief. What was wrong with Kawaki? Why would he do something like this? Regardless of the reasons, this was an act of treason, one that would get him killed. If they think this is bad, they should have been there for the badness that a younger Sasuke was up to. But anyway, their squad too would go looking for Kawaki before Moegi-sensei stopped them. Back to what I guess we'll call the scene of the crime, Konohamaru would give orders. Sarada and Mitsuki were to get Boruto to the hospital, while he and Sasuke joined the search for Kawaki. Boruto did lose an eye after all, so that was kind of something to go look into. Sarada would with concern remind Konohamaru and Sasuke to be careful because Kawaki was of course very dangerous. Here, Sasuke, a man who at this point only glares despite missing an eye, would still refuse to speak his first words of the chapter, and the only response would come from Konohamaru, who would agree with Sarada. With that settled, Konohamaru and Sasuke would take off in search of their enemy, leaving Sarada, Boruto, and Mitsuki alone. But something unexpected would then happen because Mitsuki would speak up here, adding that he too will go searching for Kawaki. Before Sarada could even properly comprehend or react to this, Mitsuki was gone. This was bad though, and a terrifying memory would come back to Sarada. Mitsuki, with a cold expression, seriously telling her that if anyone were to try and kill Boruto, he didn't know what he'd do to that person. The Boruto-obsessed son of Orochimaru was now in pursuit of the village traitor, Kawaki, likely with only murder on his mind. Still holding his damaged eye, Boruto would tell Sarada to go after Mitsuki. He was out of his mind right now and could not be left alone. Sarada didn't want to leave Boruto alone, but he insisted and emphasized the need for her to go now, and so she did. Everyone was now in pursuit of Kawaki, not knowing the very world they know was about to change in a drastic way. Boruto could only watch as everyone took off in pursuit of his brother turned village traitor. Konoha would shortly after catch a small break. Kawaki, somewhere in the nearby forest, would revert to his original size, plagued with fatigue. Running low on chakra, he could not keep using Sukuna Hikona. The technique originates from Otsutsuki Ishiki and allows the user to shrink and resize himself or any non-living matter. Now at his normal size, Kawaki was in trouble. Konoha ninja were nearby in hot pursuit, close enough for him to even see them. Back in Konoha, Ada was already using her all-seeing eyes in search of Kawaki, and this brief moment of reverting to his normal size was all she needed. Now in the presence of Sumire and Daemon, she found him. With her mysterious eyes wide, she called out that she found him, and in an instant, activate, step, and blast off into the air, with Daemon calling after her. Kawaki was now in trouble. Ada was on her way, and the only villager aware of the discovery was Sumire. As Ada zipped away with stellar speed, her brother Daemon would continue to call after her, hollering out that he can't fly, and begging her not to leave him. But right now, Ada could only see Kawaki, whispering to herself, "Don't worry, Kawaki, I'm here for you." Not too far away, Shikamaru too was rushing after Kawaki when a familiar voice rang in his ears. It was Amato, about to reveal another favorable card in his deck. He wanted to talk about Kawaki, but Shikamaru would tell him to stay out of this. He had no place or authority in this current matter. Clearly on edge, Amato would tell Shikamaru to listen. They didn't have to kill Kawaki. Amato would claim that there was a way to stop him without doing that. Amato, one to always surprise us, would now reveal that there is a special command word that uses his voice, similar to the one with Delta. Unfortunately, Amato would have to see him in person to activate it, but if the conditions were met, they would be able to deactivate Kawaki in an instant. Shikamaru was now pissed off to find out that Amato still had yet another secret up his sleeve. Regardless of what happens in the story, one thing is for sure. Amato is always somehow ahead of the rest of our cast. This was yet another moment, but for it to matter, they'd have to first get a hold of Kawaki. This was not simply an offer to help Konoha though. Amato mentioning this came with a special condition. Shikamaru had to promise that they would leave the deactivated Kawaki alone. Amato couldn't afford for him to die. Shikamaru was silent for a moment. He would then reply to this request, more like a demand, from Amato. He sympathizes with Amato's situation. After all, he needs Kawaki's power to revive his daughter. However, Shikamaru would continue his chase and make it clear to Amato that Kawaki had already crossed the line he shouldn't have, and as long as he didn't completely surrender, Konoha will treat him and deal with him as they would an enemy. Amato was now desperate, yelling for Shikamaru to wait and hear him out, but his childlike pleas would fall on deaf ears. Shikamaru was out to protect his village and redeem his longtime friend, Naruto. Back to Kawaki, we see him with his back against the wall. The villagers in pursuit were a few steps away, and he had little to no chakra to defend himself. His heart would skip a beat as he bushes at his side rustled. It was Ada, now telling him that it's okay, it's only her. Before he could panic or question why she was here, she'd make it clear that she was on his side. Kawaki would question this. After all she was doing right now was revealing his location. She was unable to hide her chakra signature. In response, Ada would come with a reality check. Kawaki was doomed. There was no way to escape his current circumstance. She was his savior. With her, he was safe. Her confidence was now shining. Like a god, she stood over him promising safety. Kawaki couldn't argue with her words. But frustration would kick in now for Kawaki. He'd curse it all. With Ada over him and his karma-scarred hand on his disgruntled face, he'd bark that it doesn't matter, that he doesn't care about what happens to him. Instead of me, protect the 7th. Ada continued to show concern, but let him continue. Kawaki knew that if he couldn't silence Momoshiki, then both Naruto and the village he protected would be doomed. Really, the whole world might be lost, but that's a problem for later. Kawaki would continue. He couldn't let this happen. If Momoshiki is free, they'll never get Naruto back. We will add that it's funny hearing that from him, considering he's the one that sent Naruto away. This is where the chapter would take a weird turn though. Kawaki would start to really show disdain for Boruto, because despite all this, above all else, Boruto was Naruto's son. He'd question who in Konoha could kill Boruto. Again, the Hokage's son. Who would have the heart to, in a way, turn on the Hokage and get rid of Boruto? At this time, fond memories of Boruto would flash back for Kawaki. Words that touched him. Boruto expressed how important Kawaki is to him. But as this crossed his mind, the innocence of Boruto, then came the dark reality that there is a monster inside him. Rage now filled Kawaki. He stood up and grabbed Ada. Why did it have to be Boruto? Ada's eyes widened and Kawaki continued. If instead of being the Hokage's son, Boruto was an outsider like him, this would all have been easier. If Boruto were an outsider, no one would mourn his death. Ada would tell him to stop. For even her, this was a bit much. He'd command her to look at him, helpless scum that can't even protect what's important to him. Then it happened. Ada suddenly grabbed his face on both sides and her mysterious eyes went blank as they were swarmed in energy. Like a blast of divine power, the sky became filled with a mountain of energy with a crescent moon protecting it. Every ninja in the world would be grabbed by this sudden blast of chakra. It continued to grow and widen, and Ada and Kawaki floated up to the stars in the eye of the storm. Kawaki looked almost scared, and Ada with her blank angelic face. The crescent moon reached beyond the forest to the village skies, where even her brother Daemon, still on the run, would see it. As it continued its spread, Sumire saw it too, then it started to cover the entire planet. Silence would then follow and cover the forest as Ada and Kawaki floated down to the ground, concluding with Ada falling into his arms. Kawaki would try to awaken the now goddess-like Ada, and her eyes would blink before returning to their previous state. She would fluster, now seeing that she was laying on top of Kawaki. Their little moment would come to an end though, with the Konoha ninja who were in pursuit of Kawaki now approached. What just happened? The answer is world-changing. Boruto, still alone, had seen the light as well and now also wondered what had just happened. Behind him stood Momoshiki, menacingly laughing to himself. We wouldn't have to wait too long to find the reason for his laughter. Back with Ada and Kawaki, the two were found by the Konoha ninjas in pursuit. However, something was wrong, and Ada would let Kawaki know that. Shikamaru would be given word that Kawaki was found with Ada, but he and the men that discovered the two had no clue what was going on. Word would then reach Shikamaru, Sasuke, and Sarada that they located Boruto's chakra. But in the words of Sarada, why would they need to share Boruto's location? Weren't they after Kawaki? She had caught up with Mitsuki and would share her concern that something may have happened to Boruto. Back to Momoshiki and Boruto, the question would come now. Momoshiki would ask, what does it feel like to lose everything? Something had happened. Boruto, in no mood for any of this, would now in frustration ask Momoshiki what was going on. With a smirk, Momoshiki would simply tell Boruto to look behind himself. As Boruto, with a sense of urgency, turned his head, Mitsuki and Sarada charged in close. Mitsuki with an odd amount of force. Boruto was rightfully confused to see these two, and would ask what happened. Why were they back? Sarada too was confused, but the issue was Mitsuki. Slowly, he'd remove his headband and tell Sarada not to get too close. This guy, Boruto, was dangerous. Sarada wasn't processing what was happening, but Boruto now had a concerned look. Mitsuki would call the name of his former friend, and in an instant, activate his Sage Mode. Something was now very clearly wrong. The ninja near Kawaki and Ada would now run after Boruto. The remaining one would ask Kawaki, what happened to the scar in his eye? The scar we saw Boruto receive from Kawaki in the previous chapter. Kawaki had not yet understood what happened, but Ada would speak up, asking the ninja if they found Kawaki's father, the Hokage. Kawaki now looked at Ada, as the ninja responded to her concerns that they hadn't found any leads, but they knew Boruto did it. Kawaki now understood. Soon, Boruto would also. With his most powerful form, Mitsuki faced Boruto and asked what he did to the Hokage. Boruto could only ask what was going on. Mitsuki would take this as Boruto not wanted to talk about what he did, and with quickness, Boruto would hear a command in his head. Up there, jump to the branch. And he'd do so just in time to avoid a devastating attack from Mitsuki. That jump forced Boruto to move his hand from his eye, now revealing the deep scar. Sarada would grab hold of Mitsuki and ask what was wrong with him, but Mitsuki right now could not hear her. Boruto was the target. Sarada could only look on with concern now. The voice of Momoshiki would again ring in the ears of Boruto. He'd tell Boruto that Mitsuki and all the others are coming to kill him. If Boruto had a problem with that, he'd better run. Still, Boruto had no idea what was going on. The bombshell would be dropped now. This was the true nature of Ada's charm power, a divine power that even she cannot control. This was the result of divine technique, omnipotence. Attacks would fly after Boruto now, and he'd continue to run. This was a power that only an omniscient and omnipotent god could control. This is something so crazy that according to Momoshiki, it is said that God used it in the process of creating the world, the absolute will that materializes everything. It is not something that can be controlled by Ada, but this is merely the result of Ada's latent desire. To Momoshiki, looking at the result alone, it's fair to conclude that this is a product of Kawaki's desire. Here it would become clear to Boruto. His position and that of Kawaki's have been reversed. It was here that we saw a beautiful shot of Boruto alone, with the other side being Kawaki and Konoha. And this shot kind of puts it into clear perspective how Kawaki felt. A bit sad, but at the same time he pretty much isolated himself, so yeah. It all makes sense now, why Kawaki was written and designed in this style. With his black and blonde hair, it's not hard to believe he could be the child of Naruto and Hinata. Back with Shikamaru, the search for Boruto was proving difficult, and he needed more information. He'd ask what exactly happened when they were attacked by Boruto. Because again, remember, the roles flipped, so the actions Kawaki previously took are now believed to be those of Boruto. Ada attempted to downplay what had happened, but then came a touch from Kawaki. The seventh is dead. Kawaki would command her to tell Shikamaru. She'd stare at Kawaki, unsure what he was thinking. Kawaki would go on. The seventh died at Boruto's hands. That's what you tell them. By now, Kawaki has grasped the situation and was looking to even further turn things in his favor. By having everyone believe Naruto is dead, Boruto surely would be seen as an irredeemable enemy, one who they would have no problem killing. Just a minute ago, killing Boruto, the son of Naruto, was an insane, unimaginable idea. Now, Boruto is just an outsider, who at least in the eyes of Kawaki, they'd have no problem killing. So what do we learn here? Hating isn't all bad. You might just hate your way into getting exactly what you'd hope for. On the run, Boruto would continue to listen to Momoshiki and attempt to grasp the idea that his role with Kawaki has been reversed. Momoshiki would now make it more clear for Boruto and all of us. It's people's memories that have been changed. Their shared recognition of the two has been reversed. The consciousnesses of people are connected through their chakras, and Momoshiki would say it would not be impossible for a god to change this. He'd then ask Boruto if he'd never thought of it. How many times the memories of mankind have been tampered with? This was by the hand of the Otsutsuki who became gods. A funny thing to ask Boruto of all people. Here we're reminded that there are Otsutsuki gods. They continue to evolve with the intention of achieving god status. And so it's made clear here that those who reach that level have the chance to obtain power like this. Naturally, we have to wonder how this could all be reversed someday. It's not likely we see it fixed by Ada again granting someone their desire. Most likely, an actual god will be compelled to reverse it. There is also the small possibility that Boruto himself becomes a god and reverses it, but that's just wishful thinking at this point. Kishimoto was clearly in his bag with this chapter and setup. Surely all of Boruto's haters are now rushing to catch up to be a part of this hype. Momoshiki was clearly in a good mood though, as he would continue to provide Boruto with information that he had no reason to share really. Kawaki and Boruto were not affected by this change. Their memories remain, as well as those of Ada, the caster of this technique. This is because of their Otsutsuki DNA. But as we saw earlier, for some reason, Sarada too was unaffected. The reason wasn't stated, but we can't say it's because of her Uchiha blood. Because if so, Sasuke too would be unaffected. In the comments, let us know why you think Sarada was unaffected. All we're hoping to see is her go rogue with Boruto for some time. Anyway, what matters most is that right now, Kawaki is the son of the Hokage who was born and raised in Konoha, Kawaki Uzumaki. And Boruto is the one who repays kindness with ingratitude, a lonely outsider being targeted by Konoha. Simply, Boruto. Despite somehow receiving a blast of information, we're left with more questions than answers. Kawaki has gotten his selfish wish, and the prophecy has come true, leaving Boruto with nothing. As always, I'm Celestial Otaku. Thank you all so much for watching and have an awesome day. I love you.